Good evening, dear listener. Tonight, once again, we step gently into the past, a time when justice wore iron, silence was sharpened to a blade, and some men lived not by the sword, but by the axe. Whether you're tucked in beneath heavy covers or perched on a cool, contemplative toilet seat, yes, even that mysteriously thoughtful one, I'm truly honored to have your company. Now, if you're new here, welcome to our little corner of calm history. Feel free to subscribe for more stories that drift quietly through forgotten corridors and echo softly through time. Tonight's tale is a slow descent, not into battle or crusade, but into something quieter, something more intimate, something much, much heavier. We journey back to the shadowed alleys behind the castle walls, to the cold stone platform where justice was performed by calloused hands and unflinching stares. You are not a knight, nor a king. You are the one they summon when law fails words, when the crowd gathers, when the blade must fall. You are the executioner. So close your eyes. Forget who you are. Imagine this isn't just a toilet. It's a time machine of porcelain and mystery. When you flush, you don't vanish into plumbing. You vanish into parchment records and soot-covered boots, into a world where your job is necessary, but no one will look you in the eye. Let's begin.
You weren't born to swing the axe. No one ever is. But you inherited the role like a burden passed down in blood. You were just a boy when your father placed the hood in your hands. It smelled like iron, like rain-soaked leather and dried sweat, like secrets. "This is what keeps peace," he said. "This is what keeps order." You didn't understand then. You do now. In the eyes of the law, you are not a man. You are a tool, sharpened, silent, and useful. And yet without you, justice cannot speak. Without you, the townspeople would live with unease, their fears unpunished, their crimes unchecked. It's not that they admire you, but they need you, and that is something darker than fear. Each day you rise before the sun. Your house is on the outskirts, not quite part of the town, not quite in the wilds. No one builds near you. Superstition has weight in this age, and so do whispers. They say executioners bring curses, that your soul is stained by every life you take, that demons dance behind your eyes. Even your well is used only by you, and when you walk to the square, the air parts, as though the very earth avoids your shadow. You pass the bakery, the baker looks away. You pass the chapel, the priest closes the doors. You keep walking, always walking. Your steps are heavy, not from guilt, but from routine, and maybe something else you don't dare name. Today the square is already crowded. Children are hoisted onto shoulders. Old women bring stools. It's not just punishment. It's theater. It's reminder. It's a warning wrapped in ritual. On the platform stands a man convicted of sorcery. His face is lined with age and confusion. You know this look. You've seen it countless times. They all wear it, in different masks. Defiance, pleading, emptiness. Sometimes they speak to you. They think you listen. But that is not your place. You're not the judge. You're not the priest. You're the blade. Your tools are clean. You keep them that way, Not for mercy, but for efficiency. Your axe is oiled. Your rope is measured. The fire for branding is already lit. On occasion, when executions are deemed sacred, you must also carry holy relics in your belt. A strange irony, you'd think. The cross and the cudgel side by side. The crowd hushes as the bishop begins to speak. He lists the crimes, the sins, the punishment. He speaks of cleansing the land, of divine will. You do not look at the crowd, you do not scan for pity. You focus on the center, always the center. And the words end, they nod to you. It is your signal. You step forward. Your movements are practiced, unshaken, timeless. Your hands are steady as you guide the condemned into position. There is no ceremony in your voice. You say nothing. You simply do what must be done. The moment hangs in silence. The birds stop singing. The air itself seems to hold its breath. Then the act. It is over quickly. It must be. That is your one mercy. The crowd reacts in its usual way, gasps, a few cheers, others turning away in pale silence. And then they go home. They always go home. They will forget the face by morning, but they will remember the fear. That is your work. It lives in memory, not in name. You stay behind to clean, always. The platform must be washed, the tools packed away, the rope examined for fray. By the time the town sleeps, your hands are raw, your cloak stained, and your mind quieter than it should be. You walk back through empty streets. The sky is darker now, stars cold above you. In your house, no fire is lit. There is no wife waiting, no child to greet you. You remove your hood and hang it on its wooden peg. It leans beside your father's, a relic now, dusted by time and silence. You sit on your stool and rest your boots. You look at your hands. There is blood under the nails. You reach for your basin and begin to scrub. The water turns red, then pink, then clear again. You lie down on your cot. The straw creaks beneath you. The walls do not speak, but the quiet is heavy. You close your eyes and exhale, not from sorrow, not from pride, but from sheer, aching existence. Sleep comes slowly, but it does come. You are, after all, still human, even beneath the hood. You stand once more in the center of the square. The wood beneath your boots, stained by yesterday's justice. The air is thick, not with smoke nor blood, but with the stillness that comes before a ritual. It is a strange thing, this ceremony. They call it justice. But you have learned that justice wears many faces, some noble, some cruel, some empty. The town has gathered again, not because they are bloodthirsty, though some are, not even because they care for the man about to die. They come because this is tradition, a ritual written in silence and shadow. It tells them, we are still in control. The world still makes sense. You glance at the prisoner. He is young, no older than you were when you took up your father's tools. His crime? Theft. And though the sentence does not call for death, today he'll be flogged in the public square. A punishment meant not to end life, but to shape behavior, to wound the flesh so the soul may remember. You prepare the lashes yourself. Leather, knotted. A number has been declared, 39, not 40. 40 is too many. That is the law. The crowd hushes as the church bell tolls. The bishop again reads the crimes. His voice is solemn, controlled, but not cruel. As he speaks, Your eyes drift across the faces in the crowd. A mother shielding her child's eyes, a boy leaning forward, fascinated. An old man weeping softly, though no one notices. All of them are part of this moment. You, the prisoner, the law, the witnesses. The punishment isn't just for the condemned. It is for them, too. A reminder, a mirror. When the lash begins, you do not shout, you do not flinch. Your arm moves with the discipline of years. You count quietly in your mind. 1, 2, 3. The prisoner gasps. He does not beg. At 10, you notice his knees buckle. At 20, his breath is shallow. At 39, you stop. Precisely. Always precisely. You step back. Your hands ache, but you do not show it. You nod. The ritual is complete. There's no applause. Only the soft murmur of a crowd trying to pretend they feel nothing. Trying to forget that moments ago they stood in communion with pain. As you coil the whip, you hear a girl whisper, "He's just doing his job." You do not turn. You do not smile. But something inside you softens. Just a little. Later, alone in your home, you reflect on what you've become. A living contradiction. They need you, but they do not want you. They pass your house without knocking. They look away when you meet their gaze. Even the innkeeper leaves your food at the door. Yet when the sentence is passed, when justice must be done, they call for you. Not the priest, not the guards. You. And so you carry it. The weight of order, the weight of sin. You carry it in your muscles, in the splinters under your nails, in the quiet ache behind your eyes. You do not ask for praise, you ask only for silence. At night, when the town sleeps, and the gallows creak faintly in the wind, like old trees swaying in dreamless sleep, you light a single candle. You stare at the flame and wonder, have they ever truly seen you? Do they understand that you have not chosen cruelty, but purpose? That you are not the darkness, only the one who walks through it so others may sleep in light? And now, dear listener, it's time for you to rest as well. Let the square fade behind you. Let the crowd dissolve. You are not in chains, nor on the scaffold. You are here, warm, safe, still. The axe is quiet. The whip is hung. The night is yours. Sleep softly now, and may your dreams hold only peace. You wake before the sun. The village still slumbers in the gentle hush of pre-dawn fog. But your hands are already busy, oiling the axe, tightening the leather of your gloves, inspecting the rope for fray. These are your instruments, not of war, not of rebellion, but of sanctioned death. Each one has its place. Each one tells a different story. You are not a man with a single weapon, but a keeper of a dark library. Each method, a chapter in the book of justice. Today you are summoned not for a thief nor a murderer, but a traitor. And with that word, traitor, comes a sentence of particular cruelty. Drawing and quartering. You've only performed this once before. You do not relish its return. The condemned man stares at you as you pass him in the courtyard, not with rage, not with terror, but with a hollow resignation. He knows what awaits. And you do, too. You think back to the tools hanging in your shed, the rope for hanging, the simplest, perhaps, but deceptively complex. The length, the thickness, the placement of the knot, all must be precise. A drop too short, and the condemned suffocates slowly. Too long, and the body is torn apart before death arrives. There is a strange science to it. You've learned to calculate the weight of a man with a glance. You've heard the crack of vertebrae like a final verdict echoing through the square. Then there is the axe, heavy, balanced, forged not for war, but for ceremony. It lives wrapped in cloth, polished to a muted shine. You remember the first time you used it, the way the crowd fell silent, the weight of the moment, not just of steel and bone, but of all eyes. Watching, waiting, one swing. That is all you are given, a clean death for a noble. No room for error, no second chance. You remember the eyes of the widow as you lifted the blade, how she did not blink, how her silence felt louder than the cheers of the crowd. And the stake. You try not to think about the stake, the smell of smoke in your clothes, the sound, not the screams, but the fire itself, crackling like dry leaves. That's what haunts you. Fire doesn't judge. Fire consumes. You once lit the pyre beneath a woman accused of witchcraft. Her face was young, her voice steady. She sang as the flames rose. You've never forgotten the sound of that melody, but today is different. Drawing and quartering, the gravest of punishments for the gravest of sins. The ropes are already tied to the 4 horses. You stand by the scaffold as the priest reads the last rites, his voice shaking. His method. It is not just death. It is spectacle. It is warning. It is a message written in blood and pain. Betray the crown, and you will be unmade. The horses do not understand what they do. They merely follow the whip. The condemned does not cry out until the very end. And even then it is not a scream, but something quieter. A sound you cannot name. When it is done, the pieces are gathered and sent to distant towns. One to hang on the gate of the capital, another to the coast, another to the northern watchtower. You've heard whispers that they will boil the head in pitch. A grim ritual to preserve the warning longer. You do not speak on the walk home. The townspeople step aside, their eyes lower. No one thanks you. No one ever does. But they do sleep easier tonight. And you will lie awake for a while, remembering faces, counting strokes, listening to the night for the sound of horses. Eventually you will close your eyes, and sleep will come, not as rest, but as a forgetting. And now, gentle listener, perhaps it is time for you to rest too. Let the scaffold fade from your mind. Let the weight of justice fall away. You're not bound. You're not judged. You are safe, warm, and far from the square. Let it flow. Now returning, your days are not always shadowed by the gallows or the blade. Often they are filled with quieter, dirtier work. The forgotten tasks that no one else will touch, but everyone silently expects of you. The town may know you for your axe, but it is your shovel and your silence they rely on most. The law protects you? Barely. You keep the writs tucked away in a small wooden box under your cot. Each bears the wax seal of the local lord, each one a formal shield that says your hands are not stained with murder, but signed with justice. Without him, you are a killer. With them, You're a servant of the law. It's a fine line. You've seen it blur. You felt the eyes of grieving families trying to burn through that parchment with a stare alone. On some days, you carry the rod instead of the axe. Public lashings are common. Petty thieves, drunkards, or women accused of indecency. The lash sings through the air, and your hand does not falter. You are not cruel, but you are not gentle either. You do not look them in the eye. You do not speak. You count the strokes, then walk away. It is better that way. Clean, predictable, unattached. Then there is the pit. Not metaphorical, not spiritual. The real one. You dig it with your own hands when the plague comes or when a punishment ends in death without ceremony. You lower the body in with care. Not love, not grief, just care. As if performing a duty not to the dead, but to the earth. A pact. A quiet promise that someone, even an outcast, will lay the body down. Your role, strange as it may be, stretches further still. You are the town's knacker. When a diseased horse collapses in the street, or a bloated cow washes up from the river, it is you they call. You drag the carcass out with rope, cart it off to the outskirts, and burn what remains. No one thanks you, but no one wants the disease to spread. And so they avert their eyes and pay in coin or in bread. You bury the rot. You protect the living. There are other duties, more mundane, but just as lonely. You collect taxes from lepers and prostitutes, those already marked by the edges of society. Perhaps they see a reflection in you, a fellow outcast. When you knock, they do not scream. They simply nod and pay. Sometimes they even speak to you like a person. Sometimes you nod back. But you never linger. You inspect cesspits. You test the ropes in the town's stocks. You're called when someone wants a brawler removed from a tavern. The constable won't risk the scuffle. Your reputation, grim, quiet, precise, does most of the work for you. They see your shadow in the doorway, and suddenly, no one wishes to fight. At night, you sit by your fire and oil your tools. Not just the axe, but the shears, the pitchfork, the shovel, the iron collar. They are your instruments, not of hatred, not of revenge, of duty. You wonder sometimes what your life might have been, had the role not passed to you from your father. He died quietly, alone, and the town did not mourn. But they gave you his tools, and a name and a job. You were 16, you tell yourself this role is necessary, and maybe it is. But sometimes you stare into the fire and wonder if the town forgets that you are a man beneath the hood, that you eat, that you sleep, that you once laughed. You remember the feeling, though you haven't done it in years. You think maybe that's why you speak to the dead before you work. Just a whisper, a recognition, a reminder. And now, dear listener, you've walked far enough in these heavy boots. You've carried the burden, you've done the work. The fire is low, the night is still. And though no one thanks you, I will. Thank you for walking this path with me. Rest your mind, release the weight. You wear no hood, at least not most days. The townsfolk know your face, as well as they know your shadow. They nod curtly if they pass you on the street, though many cross to the other side. But they know who you are, and what you've done. The idea of hiding beneath a dark veil, draped in black mystery, belongs to poets and painters more than to you. In truth, there is little hiding in your line of work. When you swing the axe, when you light the pyre, when you tie the noose, you do so openly. Your name is whispered, even when your face is not seen. The hood only comes out when safety demands it, when the condemned is beloved, or the crowd is restless. It's not ritual, it's protection. Still, the myths grow. In taverns, you've heard yourself turned into a figure of dread, eyes burning behind a black mask, moving silently through the fog like some ghostly reaper. It would almost be flattering if it weren't so absurd. But you say nothing. Better to let them believe in the mask. It gives them something to blame, someone to fear, and it lets them forget that the executioner is not a phantom, it is just a man. Not only in your land does this role bear such contradictions. Far to the east, others like you have walked similar paths. In the Korean kingdoms, the baekjeong served as executioners, slaughterers, tanners, necessary, but cursed. The people there too believed that death clung like smoke, staining those who carried it out. In Japan, the burakumin held a similar fate. Even generations later, the children of such workers were marked, as if the act of taking life stained not just hands, but bloodlines. In these distant lands, impurity was not a moment, it was inheritance. You think, sometimes, of the Ottoman garden, not for the flowers, but for the secret that bloomed there. The Bostansi Basi, chief among the palace gardeners, or the green of the Sultan's tranquility. But his hands could just as easily bear the garrote. A man might be offered a cup of sweet sherbet, red as pomegranate, only to learn it meant his life would end before the sun set. Even in paradise, death blooms quietly. Even among roses, the executioner walks. But back here, in your world, the burden is heavier. There are no silken robes, no palace rituals, just the silence of your neighbors, the children who flinch, the women who won't meet your gaze. You live on the edge of the village, where the road curves toward the woods. Your home is sturdy, but cold. The local priest once visited you years ago, with eyes full of reluctant duty. He blessed the house, said little, and never returned. They think you are immune to it, that the weight of 100 lives doesn't seep into your dreams, that the cries of the condemned don't sometimes rise from the corners of your room in the middle of the night. But they do, quietly, as whispers, not angry, not vengeful, just lingering. You have a daughter. She's clever. She speaks like her mother used to. But already the children at the well have turned away from her. Already the baker's wife clutches a rosary when she walks past. She does not understand yet. But she will. One day, she will look at you and see more than her father. She will see the mask they painted on your face. And you wonder, will she carry that weight too? Or will she run and leave the name behind? You sigh. You finish sharpening the blade, for there is no sentence tomorrow. You keep it ready, because readiness is all you have left. You sit by the fire and trace the grain of the wooden handle with your thumb. You think of the sherbet, of the garden, of the hoods you do not wear, and the faces they wish you had. Tonight, though, you are not the executioner. You are just you, tired, honest, human. The fire hums low, softening the edges of the shadows on the wall. Your boots are off. Your hands are still. The tools are silent. And the world, for a while, does not need you. So rest now. The hood is folded. The axe is laid down. The townspeople are asleep. No cries, no flames, no rope. Just the sound of wind brushing the trees. The warmth of your blanket. And the slow, steady rhythm of breath in your chest. Sleep well, little time traveler. And may no laws disturb your slumber tonight. Sweet good night.